What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today I'm going to be showing you how I prepare my fancy goldfish tank for when I go on holiday. So make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out those links in the description. Check out our sponsors, Jimmy Goldfish USA and Star Fisheries. There's also a discount code down below for Jimmy Goldfish. So today I'm going to be showing you exactly how I prepare my aquarium for when I head off on holiday. Now, there's not too much to it, so this video is not going to be too long, but I'm going to be showing you the steps that I take when setting up my tank ready for me to go away. So first thing we need to do is make sure we have really good water quality. So I'm going to be doing a water change. I've got the siphon right here with me. So I'm going to be using the siphon, cleaning out the tank, probably doing around a 30 to 40% water change. And then once we've done that, we can move on to the next step. As you can see, just draining the tank down now. I'm going to clean off the lily pot, any algae, make sure the leaves are free from any algae. And then once I've done the drain down, we can look at the next steps that we're going to be doing. Simply just siphoning the sand, making sure there's no dirt in there. And then I'm just going to be changing the filter fleece. As you can see here, just use a little bit of filter fleece. Going to rip this up into the square shape of the internal sump filter. Place that in the top of the filter, and then hopefully we'll get this done in probably an hour and a half, because it is quite a lot of water to be draining out of the tank. But then once that's done, I can let you know what I'm going to be doing as the next step to make sure this tank is as safe or as well put together as possible, and when I go away, so I don't have to worry about the fish or the health of the fish. Now that the water is starting to drain, I thought just while that's draining down and I'm waiting for it to get to probably around 30-40% before I start topping it back up, let me talk about the next step that I'm going to do to make sure that this tank does as well as it can whilst I am away. So what I'm going to be using is an auto feeder. So hopefully you can see that, hopefully the camera will focus in. So this is an Eheim auto feeder. Now the Eheim auto feeder I find are really reliable. I really like them, really good little units. You can feed up to 4 times per day with this, although I am not going to be feeding that much. I would say there is quite a few people that hate auto feeders, as they can potentially dump lots of food into your tank when you're away, causing lots of problems. However, to mitigate that problem, I'll take a little bit of food and I will fill this auto feeder up. Now, let's say I'm going away for 7 days. What I will do is I will approximate around 7 days of food, but I will always on the side of caution and do a little bit less. So let's say 7 days worth of food. I'm probably only going to put in around this much of the feeder, if that. I might put a little bit less in, because if on the off chance that this feeder malfunctions and it dumps all of this food into the tank, that amount of food there is not going to cause any significant problems. And the chance that it dumps all of that food in on the first day are even slimmer. So I would say putting a small amount of food, enough for 7 days if you're going away for 7 days, or maybe even 5 days worth of food, is absolutely fine. Now, yes, lots of people will tell you that the goldfish will do absolutely fine without any food at all, and that is I totally agree with that. If you're going away for 3 days or 4 days or less, I would generally just not feed at all. It's not worth the risk. However, if you're going away for 5, 7, 10 days, then I would start to incorporate an auto feeder into your regime, because obviously if the fish aren't feeding or aren't eating, they can potentially have some health problems if they start spawning potentially in the tank, or if there's any they damage themselves, etc. They won't have as much energy to repair themselves, and I would say just giving them a little bit of food is a nice thing to do. It can, some people may say it could be a little bit cruel if you're not feeding them. Obviously they do absolutely fine. These guys can survive weeks on weeks without any food, but I would say I prefer to keep them fed just a little bit of food twice a day, a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening, just to keep them ticking over whilst I'm away. So this is the Eheim auto feeder setup. I'm just going to place this on the lid of the tank, and then it's going to drop that food in the morning and the night, just a little bit, probably enough pellets that will be eaten within 20 to 30 seconds, just to keep them ticking over as I mentioned. Definitely make sure, don't feed that or fill that auto feeder to the top, because if this breaks or malfunctions and dumps all of that food into your tank, that is going to cause a massive water quality issue, and you could potentially lose all of your tank of fish. So just putting a little bit of food in there to help keep them ticking over is personally what I would do. So now we've spoken about the water change. I would do the water change probably 2 days in advance. You could do it on the morning of the time you're going, but I would say doing it 1 to 2 days beforehand is best, just in case something goes wrong or you forgot to turn the filter back on or something like that. I would say doing it that 1 to 2 days in advance is the best way to do it. So we've spoken about the water change, spoken about our auto feeder, and there is one other thing that I will do as well. Many of you will do your water change, add your auto feeder, and that will be it. You can also use holiday food blocks. You can find those in the aquatic shops, but generally I would say always avoid them. I'll put a few pictures up on the screen for you to see what they look like, but generally I prefer to avoid those. Those food blocks can add a huge amount of waste into your water, a huge amount of food all at once, and I would say it's generally not worth the risk doing that. They can sometimes not be very nutritious either. I believe Tetra do a 2 to 3 day feeder for goldfish, and that would be one I would opt for, but in the best case scenario I just wouldn't feed for a short amount of time, or I would add a small auto feeder just like this one here. Now the last thing I do is add a Wi-Fi camera. So here I've got a Ring doorbell camera, and I just have this sitting underneath the sofa, and this is what I use to watch my tank whilst I'm away. So nice and simple bit of kit, plug in, it attaches to your Wi-Fi and it sends a Wi-Fi signal, and then you can look at it anywhere in the world. This little camera, I believe they're around £50, something like that, and it just gives you a little bit of peace of mind. If I'm on holiday and suddenly I think, did I remember to turn the filter on, or did I remember to turn the air pump on? Or you just have a kind of bad feeling, and if there's no one to come and check on your fish whilst you're away, that can play in your mind a little bit. But I can simply go on the phone, click on the Ring doorbell app, and then I can see my fish and see how they're doing. Sometimes when I'm away at the weekend, I check on them, and it just puts my mind at ease. It means I can just see how they're doing and how the tank is doing. Also, if there is potentially a fault or an error with the tank and the air pump stops working, obviously the bubbles at the back will stop. I can see that on the Ring doorbell camera, and then I can contact a friend or family to come and check and see what's gone on. But obviously if I can't see what's happening and no one is coming to check on the tank, then potentially you could have a little disaster. And I always think it's nice to just check on the fish whilst you're away. It puts your mind at ease and you can see how they are doing. So that is the last thing I would say. Nice little Wi-Fi camera, or otherwise if you don't want a Wi-Fi camera, you can just get someone to come in. I would say every 2 or 3 days, check on the fish. They can potentially feed them, and that means you don't need the auto feeder. So that was what I would say to do. So now I'm just going to finish up this water change, get that all done, trying to keep the video nice, short and concise, but they are my 3 tips for going on holiday. Nice water change 1 to 2 days before, clean your filter out, add a auto feeder or get someone to come in every 2 to 3 days. Avoid using holiday food blocks, and if you can get yourself one, get yourself a little Wi-Fi camera so you can keep an eye on the fish. So that is the end of today's video. As I am doing this video, I am actually going away in 2 days time, and that is why I thought I'd do this video, but probably by the time this video comes out, I'll already be back in the UK and hopefully have a little bit of a tan. So that is it for today's video. If you have any comments or questions or any other good suggestions on what you would do if you want to go on holiday and what you do at home to set up your tank and make sure it's ready for your trip away, then leave a little comment down below. If you want to have your tank or setup featured on the channel, then leave a comment down below, or you can email me at fancygoldfishfanatics@gmail.com. But that is it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Remember to keep this water changes up, and happy fish keeping.